Do-Rag Wisdom here, folks, and welcome to Earthdate Y2k19.01.22. You must remember the first rule: to never allow a sociopath, or anyone else for that matter, to manipulate you. So now, let's continue with Rule 2. Ignorance is the friend of the sociopath. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everyone, every human being, read and learn all you can about sociopathy and its syndromes. Many of us deal with unrelenting stress, combined with actual real-life conflicts, such as where our next paycheck is coming from. Sociopaths play on our stresses and on our fears to use them for their own benefit. Therefore, remember, there is nothing for free in this world. Nothing. Like, I was going on Roku, they said free movies. Just, go on our site. So I went to Roku, I decided to download it and said, yeah, I know there's going to be commercials. And yes, there's commercials. Nothing is free. You want to watch a so-called free movie, you're going to have commercials. You always have to pay a price. And number 4, there are no easy answers to complex problems. Never. Selfishness is the key to a sociopath. They will rip a page out of a magazine in a waiting room without even considering that others would get benefit from the same information that they would use for themselves. See Sopranos Season 6B. Be wary, number 5, of the selfish person. The more selfish, probably the more sociopathic they are. Sociopaths are usually narcissists. Their entire purpose in life is to enrich themselves over the broken backs of others. 6, you must always be superior in your own eyes to protect yourself from narcissistic destruction at the heart of the sociopath. Be humble, yes. But just for protection, if you know you're in the presence of a sociopath, be as superior as you possibly can be. Playing mind games is a disgusting practice, and that is precisely what a sociopath does. 7, learn the methods and practice of mind gaming. What that is and how it is done can be identified by each of us with some modicum of life experience. But one example of mind gaming: the sociopath will use our self-deception and our self-deprecation to make us do something that we would never usually do. A sociopath is still a child. 8, you, the non-sociopath, must be the adult in the room. Number 9, recognize the sociopath within yourself and use it. Because part of the disturbing thing about sociopathy and psychopathy is that each and every one of us has some aspect of that in ourselves. But you got to recognize that dark side of yourself. The dark side within yourself must be recognized, and it must be used against the enemy sociopath. 10, we must learn to ignore this, especially what the sociopath says, not what he does. We have to ignore what he says. And this will be difficult to do because the racist creep Daffy Donald has accidentally become president of our country. We must, once again, as Rachel Maddow says, ignore what he says and pay attention to what he does and what all his followers do. Sociopath Daffy Donald knows how to use words to hurt. As ignorant as this creep is, Daffy Donald knows how to use the media, and if we let him, he will wield it like a sword of Mordor. We must learn to tune out those words once again and concentrate on the crimes he is committing against our country, and continually throw those up to his pug ugly face. Take this government shutdown, for example. It is just one of his sociopathic crimes. I'm sure that when this creep was running to destroy our country with the help of Putin, he didn't promise he was going to close down the country so that people don't get paid. Daffy Donald is president to 65 or so million registered voters. That is certainly enough to play to. Ironically enough, many of those 65 million are now suffering under this Trump shutdown. This is what we concentrate on. Forget about what the sociopath says, because that is designed to manipulate us into either becoming afraid or becoming so angry that we forget how to think. How do we plan? When I say we must ignore the sociopath, mobster, traitor, birther, bastard, ignorant, greedy Daffy Donald, I mean we must ignore his words and concentrate and fight actively his vile deeds. I once again hate to say this, but we are living the satiric black comedy, political, suspense thriller movie, and also living the best-selling book that it is based on. I know the difference between our insane reality and my insane reality. I know that the reality is not the movies, and that the former is simply verisimilitude. Yet, this does not mean that we can't learn from our fiction, whether written or whether filmed. This is our first reality TV president, playing the creep he portrayed on his Apprentice show. A stinko he is in his real life. We must use an array of weapons against this monster. Why not add those weapons we learned about in our fiction? The garlic, the mirrors, the running water, and the sunlight.